All right. Yo, what is good, everybody? Mr. Bean, how's it going? What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless wonder, the man, Lincoln Clay, coming back at you with a very different live stream. And this will probably be the last time that I use the uh, Godfather of VR moniker on this channel. I am still that. I just will not be saying it on this channel anymore. Or at least I'll try not to. I mean, it's burned into my head, so it's kind of hard not to say it. It's just second nature at this point. A little bit of a bittersweet moment. But I've been thinking a lot lately, and I think I said this a couple of times, about what's your thoughts on Population One? An amazing game. I was pleasantly surprised by that game. Uh, that's a game that when I first learned about the game, the first time I saw a trailer on the game, I had a lot of interest in the game. And just for the simple fact that you can build things, you're not exactly building things, you're more or less putting up barriers. I knew a game like this would be a hit with the kids. So I had a lot of interest in the game. Even though I knew it would be a bunch of kids in there, I was interested in the game. And then once I saw actual gameplay of it, I thought, I'm not so sure I'm interested in this game because when you actually go inside the buildings, the buildings were empty on the inside except for the power-ups, the guns, the ammo, that kind of stuff. So I was like, look, they need to put some tables and some furniture in here, to add a little life to the inside of these buildings. I thought that was going to bother me. And then, so I saw, my YouTube friends, Gamertag, along with a bunch of other YouTubers that I'm friends with, doing Let's Plays on Population One, and they sounded like they were having a lot of fun. So I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. And the big thing that made me, this solidified me buying the game, was the game being cross-buy, because I don't know if there was some confusion about it, but when that subject first came up, it sounded like the developers weren't going to do the cross-buy, and there was some backlash about it. So I don't know if the developers decided to go with cross-buy because of the backlash, or because there was some misinformation and it got out the wrong way and they had to clear it up. I don't know which way it went, but I think that was the right move, making that game cross-buy, and it solidified me buying the game, because I have to be brutally honest. If the game was not cross-buy, it would have put me in a pickle as far as which format I was going to buy the game, because my son was going to want the game as well, and to buy the game twice on the Oculus Quest for me and my son, and to buy it twice on PC for both of us, would have been $120, because this game is $30. So as far as me goes, what ultimately would have happened is, if I would have bought this game on both Quest and PC, I would have ended up returning the PC version of this game. Not that it's bad, it's not. But the graphics are so close that, with the naked eye, a person couldn't tell whether you're on PC or on the Quest. That's just how close those graphics are. The graphics are, for the most part, not mind-blowing, but it's good enough to get the job done. But the freedom of playing on the Oculus Quest makes it hands down the best way to play this game. So, and I was like thoroughly, I couldn't get enough of the game. I haven't played it in a few days because I needed a break from it, but it is an amazing game, and it is definitely a game. If someone comes to me, especially if they're getting an Oculus Quest 2, and someone comes to me and say what are good games to buy on the Oculus Quest, I will undoubtedly put Population One in the top 3 games that they must buy. You said I want to buy it. A lot of these VR games are dead within a month or two. Population 1 is not going to die. Um, in fact, even if it's only cosmetics, I like the progression system. You try to level up to unlock cosmetics for your guns. Different skins for your guns, and to unlock the different characters that are already like standard in the game. You can progress your way up and unlock them with different outfits. So, I mean, I still love Onward, and Onward is still I'd say in the top 5, maybe top 3 favorite games on both PC and Quest, and it's definitely a game I would recommend to someone. But looking back at it now, I wish Onward has some kind of progression system as well, even if it's just cosmetics. We don't want any pay to win cosmetics, but pay to win progression system. But progression as far as cosmetics goes, I'd like to see that put in the Onward. So yeah, so I gave you a very long answer on on what was a pretty direct question. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Population 1, and the game is cross-buy, so you only need to buy it once, and you'll get it both on Quest and PC. So coming back to the situation with me deciding which direction that I wanted to go with this channel. A lot of things was going through my mind. I was like, do I want to stay with what I'm doing? Do I want to move in the direction and go in that direction again of trying to reach out to developers to get review keys and that kind of stuff? Or do I want to make short videos like a lot of the other VR YouTubers are doing? And that's definitely a no. I do not want to spend hours gathering footage, gathering information, and editing a video that's probably only going to be 10 or 15 minutes long. I don't want to do that no more. It's when I first started my YouTube channel, I was making videos like that. King Thrash showed me how to use the Share Factory on the PlayStation, and it is an amazing tool, but it does not change the fact that you still need to put in a lot of time gathering up footage, because in the case of the PlayStation Share Factory, I don't know if you can download videos to the PlayStation and then use it through the Share Factory. So what I was doing, and Thrash, told me to do that, I was basically downloading videos onto a flash drive and then plug the flash drive into the PlayStation, and then transfer those videos to the Share Factory. And like I said, it's a lot of work. And when I first started my YouTube channel, I was laid off at the time, and they gave me a huge care package on the way out the door, so that was going to hold me over for a while. And so I decided to take a month or two to enjoy myself before I got back out on the job hunt. And because of that, I had a lot of time on my hands to make videos when I first started the YouTube channel. But once I got back to work and was working 6 days a week and stuff, the time wasn't there to make these videos like that. And it's still like that now. Even when I work 5 days a week, I'm still somewhat tired. So making videos, going in that direction again, that's out. Maybe once in a great while, but for the most part, that's out. So I was debating. I did know that whatever direction that I was going to go, I wanted to keep it VR. And I was debating about whether to change the name of this channel or start a new channel. And I've come to the decision that I'm going to start a new channel that's 100% dedicated to VR. And this picture that you're looking at here is going to be my profile pic for the new channel. And the new channel is going to be called The Godfather of VR. And that's why I said at the beginning of this podcast, me using the moniker the Godfather of VR. I won't be using it anymore on this channel during my intros, because that's going to be the moniker and the intro of the new channel. And the goal of this channel is to hopefully, the VR subscribers that I have on this channel, I want to maintain those subscribers. I want to get, I want to attract new subscribers, and I want to get the attentions of devs, because I want to go back to asking for review keys for Let's Plays and that kind of stuff. And I'll be delivering this content. I'll be taking on the persona of a mob boss who loves VR, and that's the purpose of this profile pic that you're looking at here. This picture was taken a few years ago during Floyd's 40th birthday party that I attended in Los Angeles. And in the cage behind me is a white tiger. They had a couple of white tigers in cages at this party. And this was the bigger one right here, and he did not look like he was in the mood to be around a bunch of people. This was supposed to be a white shirt, black tie affair, but I ended up going with a purple shirt on this. But so that's going to be the persona that I'm going to be taking on with this new channel. I'm going to be taking on the persona of a mob boss who loves VR. And when I do my podcast, I'm going to dress like that. I'm going to be wearing the mob boss hat, a shirt, tie, possibly a vest, maybe once in a while, an entire suit. So I'm going to be delivering the content mob boss style. I'm really excited about that. I don't know how the channel will do, but I do think that for the direction that I want to go in, I think that whatever the name of the channel was going to be, it had to have VR attached to it. Because the way things are right now, even though this channel is mostly VR, it's still, I'm still Lincoln Clay. And I think if I don't know what kind of search people do, but when somebody types in VR, I want my name to pop up. And then versus if they type in VR, then a list of my videos come up, and then they might see one particular video that they like and watch it. Then they might end up having to see 2 or 3 videos before they catch on that it's a VR channel. With the name The Godfather of VR, I like that. I like that moniker that I've been using for a while, and I like that ring. It lets everybody know that this is a VR channel, and taking on The Godfather makes me feel like an overseer of all this. So I like that, and I'm really excited about this channel. And I think the time is right to go ahead and do this, because it may sound bandwagonish, but like it or not, the Oculus Quest is taking VR in another direction. It's growing VR. Because of the Oculus Quest, VR is on the verge of becoming mainstream, and I originally thought that in order for VR to go mainstream, I figured Sony was going to be the catalyst of that, because Sony, they are the ones who got the ball rolling as far as VR goes. They got the ball rolling, but in order for it to become mainstream, I still felt like Microsoft had to get on board with it, because at the time that I bought my PlayStation VR, VR was still real expensive. It was a real expensive hobby. I mean, it wasn't exactly cheap getting in through the PlayStation. I mean, if you wanted to go with all the bells and whistles, $400 for the PlayStation Pro, and then $500 for the PSVR bundle that includes the Move controller. So when you're looking at $900, that's a lot of money, but it was still the cheapest out of the big three. In the case of Oculus and HTC, you still needed a capable PC, which you were probably going to spend at least $1,000 for it. And then those headsets cost $600 and $700 respectively at the time. And you're never going to get VR to go mainstream if people got to pay, $1,700 just to get through the door. And then there was going to be people who was going to reject PlayStation VR just for the simple fact that it was on the PlayStation because of this console war shit. So I felt like, this was before the Oculus Quest even came up. At that time, I think it was that the only way that VR was going to go mainstream was that Sony was going to have to keep growing VR to the point where Microsoft sees dollar signs in their eyes and like, no, we can't miss out on this. And then they jump on board. And then once Microsoft jumps on board, then all the bigger publishers is like, like EA and Activision and shit like that. When they see that they would have access to 150 possible users, that might be enough for them to get up off their asses and get on board with VR. So even though I figured Sony would be the catalyst and the biggest piece of this VR cog, would be the biggest cog in this VR mechanism, I still felt like Microsoft had to get on board in order for this to go mainstream. But I had no idea the Oculus Quest would do what it's doing now. I mean, when the Oculus Quest first hit, I was apprehensive about it because with it being a standalone VR, I thought it was going to be just another one of those $10 VR headsets that you buy at a gas station and pop your phone into it. And the first time I put the Oculus Quest on my head, because of the way the graphics looks, that's exactly what I thought it was. I was like, this is some gas station shit, and I was like, $400 for this? This is crazy. But the reason I ended up buying the Oculus Quest was because of Virtual Desktop. I had the Oculus Rift CV1, and my son, I originally bought PlayStation VR for him, and he wasn't catching on to it. He didn't catch on to it, even though he wanted it to begin with. He didn't really catch on to it, but he did catch on to the Oculus. The CV1, he thought it was comfortable. He liked the selection of games they had there. And then once he caught on the VR chat, that was a wrap. So he wanted a VR headset, and it was going to cost a lot of money to get him a PC and to get him some sort of Oculus headset. So Virtual Desktop has been around for a couple of years, and what that basically does is allow you to use the Oculus Quest to play your games remotely from anywhere in the world. So the plan was, I bought the Oculus Quest with the intentions of leaving my PC on 24/7, and then my son can access my computer from his home and play the PC games on the Quest using Virtual Desktop. But I didn't quite understand how to set it up at the time. It seemed a little complicated at the time because I was still learning a lot of shit, and I never made that happen. So my son never really used the Oculus Quest, and the rest is history. I ended up getting him a PC and VR headsets and shit like that. The rest is history. But so short story long is still the point that I was trying to make, that PC VR was not going to go mainstream. The only way it was going to go mainstream was with the help of Sony and Microsoft. Um, at the time, I felt like Sony was all in on VR, and Microsoft, no. Um, Again, being that I'm starting up a new channel, I don't really have to hold back on some of the things that I was saying. But Microsoft are some opportunists. Um, they were not going to invest in VR the way Sony was. They were basically, I've said this before, the opportunists. They were going to wait and let somebody else take the risk. And then once it blows up to the point where it becomes lucrative, then they were going to swoop in and try to get a piece of that pie, with their plate and fork. And Microsoft has proved to be that type of company on a number of occasions. When they've seen that things have taken off for other platforms and they find a way to jump in on it. I've talked about this before. The games with gold, they started that up because of the success of the PlayStation Plus, getting 2 games a month. The avatars, they started that because of because of the Mii's on the Nintendo Wii format. So they started that avatar stuff way back during the 360 days. I think in the case of, now I can't knock Microsoft for doing what they did with the Kinect, because I felt like what they were trying to do was take the concept of the Nintendo Wii. They were trying to take that to the next level. So I actually applaud them. I think it was an opportunist move that they did it. I don't think they would have taken that chance on their own. They saw that somebody else had success, and they decided to try to cash in on it. But what they were delivering was trying to take it to the next level. And I thought Kinect was pretty cool. I liked it, and I had high hopes for Kinect. So. I got way off the tracks, talking about, getting back to the time is right for me to start another channel. Even if it means I'm going to deal with a few lumps, even if I end up having to take a few lumps from this. I mean, even Polish Paul, I think he saw the writing on the wall. The Oculus Quest is growing. And it's become the standard for VR. And like it or not, and I don't mean that to sound bandwagonish, but anyone who wants to be a successful VR YouTuber, I think the Oculus Quest coverage is going to have to be a big part of your channel. And in my case, I did not plan it that way. It's just over time, as I started to play the original Oculus Quest more and more, and I started to understand what an amazing device it was. And it wasn't just some kind of gas station VR that you buy at a convenience store. And I started to realize what an amazing device it was. I wanted to try to find a way to stream it. But at the time, I saw videos from other YouTube channels of how to do it. And it seemed like a lot of work. And I was like, I'll just wait until somebody finds an easier way to do this. And then once Ham for the Win, my good friend over in the UK, put out a video showing you that you can use the Air receiver to, that's a workaround that you can stream to YouTube. It's got a little bit of a catch. It's still a couple of things that, I got to figure out. But for the most part, it works for right now. And but I just love the convenience of the Quest. So like it or not, I started this channel when I made the move to VR. I was dedicated to PlayStation VR, and then once I went over to PC VR, I became dedicated to them. Once I saw how wide open that world was, and how many the variety of games was much bigger than PlayStation VR. And the touch controllers of the Oculus Rift made gaming on PC a better experience. I mean, And that's what made me go in the direction of PC VR, was because there was some things that the PlayStation VR was lacking. So, and then from there, like I said, rest is history. I jumped on the Quest. The more I messed around with it, the more I liked it, and so here we are. But I think there was some, as far as me starting another channel, yeah, there's probably going to be some bumps in the road, and I think it happened to other YouTubers. I mean, PSVR Frank being one of them. He was dedicated to PlayStation VR, and then once he started up a second channel for PC VR, I think that didn't go well with a lot of people. I think a lot of people felt betrayed. I was one of them, because it was PSVR Frank that kept me in the PlayStation VR ecosystem, because I was ready to throw in the towel on PlayStation VR. It started out making me motion sick. I didn't like the games that was there. I was like, I want some first-person shooter games. I want a racing game that's not blurry, that kind of stuff. And PSVR Frank was like, the games are coming, be patient. I saw, a video like that, and I subscribed to him, and that's what kept me tuned in. And then when he made the PC VR channel, I felt a little bit betrayed along with a lot of other people, but I still watched his videos. I still stayed tuned, and I only watched the PSVR videos. I wasn't interested in PC at the time. So yeah, I think he faced a lot of backlash over that, and then and I think Polish Paul is just now recovering from the backlash. He kind of became the new face of PlayStation VR, along with PlayStation VR with Parole, and when he decided to start including the Oculus Quest into his content, he said it on Twitter that he was getting backlash from it. That I think he had lost maybe 200 subscribers, but in the same breath, he gained some subscribers too. So he's going to, he's probably already recovered from that now. But, I mean, he had to see the writing on the wall. I mean, lately the PlayStation VR has been slow. They haven't really given us too many games as far as exclusives go. And Sony, we're nearing the end of the generation, and Sony is being dead silent about the future of VR. So the writing was on the wall for Polish Paul. He was going to have to start adding other content to his channel, because, even if he talked about games that were supposed to come to the PlayStation VR, is like, okay, what's it coming to? Is it coming to PS4? Is it coming to PS5? Is it going to be backwards compatible? All kinds of questions is going to come up. So I think he made the right move in including Oculus Quest content in his channel. So it is what it is. We gotta, move with the, we gotta go with the flow. It's all to it. So as far as the new channel goes, like I said, I'm gonna be delivering this content from the persona of a mob boss. I will be wearing the mob boss hat. I'll be dressed like you see in this pic here. When I do podcasts, as far as Let's Play goes, more than likely I'll still be dressed the same, because that's going to be a little bit awkward being dressed up to do streams, and it's probably going to restrict my movement and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. But I've got some ideas that, for my intro and all kinds of other stuff. I've got some ideas, and I'm gonna work on that. So I just activated the channel a few hours ago. I've got to wait 24 hours before I can have my first podcast. So I can still upload videos to the channel, but I think I want my first content to be like an introductory podcast. So it would, 24 hours from now would be this time tomorrow. So we'll have to see how it goes. If I'm up at that hour, or I might do something on Sunday. We'll see how that goes. And then that's the other thing. With this being a new channel, I definitely want to stay out of the way of the other channels. And that's one of the other things that motivated me to start this channel. Is this new channel is because there's a lot of VR YouTube creators out there, a lot of VR YouTube creators, but there's not that many content creators who do podcasts anymore. And the ones that do it only do it once a week, at least the ones that I'm sub to. And they're all great shows, but they happen once a week, and a lot of them happen on the weekend. The Coffee and VR with Render Reality is a great show. They do that Saturday, about 11 a.m. Eastern. Then usually after that, you have F Reality with Mike of Virtuality Oasis. He hosts that show. That happens like a couple hours later. That happens on Saturday. My good friend 7 Degrees of Gaming has his show, Looking for Unicorns, which happens on Sunday. And so I think as of right now, up until I discovered Virtual Strangers, I think as far as VR content creators that I'm sub to, Gamertag was the only one that was doing something during the week. They do the VR League every Wednesday, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. And so just recently, a couple of days ago, I subscribed to Virtual Strangers, and their show is definitely, I think, what I've been looking for since Anthony of VR 365, scaled back some, because without a doubt, Anthony of VR 365, his podcast is one of my favorites. And he was doing something every day, so I definitely enjoyed watching his content because I was going to get something every day. He scaled back a little bit, and so now the podcast they just happen whenever they happen. And so in the case of me recently discovering, Virtual Strangers, I kind of knew they were there because I seen them as a guest on VR 365, and they were just recently a guest a couple of days ago on the VR Link. So I've known about them for a while, but I had never subscribed to the channel. And I said, well, I went ahead and took the dive yesterday, and I went and found their channel and listened to one of their podcasts, and I subbed to it. And I think they put out content like 2-3 times a week, and the podcasts that they do are exactly what I'm looking for. These podcasts are about 2 hours long, and that helps pass the time while I'm at work. Instead of having to put together a playlist of 98, 10-minute videos, with, doing 2-hour podcasts takes out a big chunk of my time. So, which Sick Humor was doing a lot of that for me because, he would normally go live 2-3 times a week, usually around 11 a.m. And his podcast would last anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. But I think his schedule changed, and he's working days now. So I don't see his content until the evening. So I usually end up watching his podcast on a replay the next day, because I need something to listen to while I'm at work. I need something to pass the time. So adding Virtual Strangers to my playlist of content that I watch was right up my alley. So but the whole purpose of bringing that subject up is that once I get this new channel up and running, I want to have a podcast during the week, so I'm not bumping heads with all the other people that's having podcasts during the weekends, because they're the big boys, and with me having a new channel, and I got to stay out of their way, or I'm gonna get stepped on. So that's all to it. So I'm going to be looking to try to do a podcast during the week. I think Virtual Strangers do a podcast every Monday. So I don't know, maybe Thursday. Maybe I'll try to, pick Thursdays as the day that I'll do a VR podcast during the week. How long these podcasts are going to last, I really don't know. It all depends on what kind of news is going on. But I think the one thing that's going to remain the same from this channel is whenever I have these podcasts, I'll talk about the latest things that's going on in VR, but I'll give my opinion on whether I think it's relevant to VR, whether what does this mean for the future of VR, that kind of stuff. I don't want to be robotic and just give you the news, So in VR, this company secured 7.5 million in funding, and blah, that's it. If I'm going to bring something like that up, then I want to give my opinion on it, okay? And ask the questions. What are they going to do with this money? What does this mean for VR? Does this mean anything for us? Are they going to use that money for enterprise, research and development, that kind of stuff? So whatever I talk about, I'll be still putting my own twist on it and still giving my own opinions. What do we got here? Just checking out a couple of things on Twitter. So it looks like I'm gonna have to clarify that on Twitter too, because Mr. Bean, no, Machiavelli just asked what's gonna happen to this channel, and a person just asked on Twitter what's gonna happen to the old channel. This channel isn't going anywhere. The content may not be consistent moving forward, because I'm probably going to strip the VR part out of this channel, and it's going to go strictly to the new channel, the Godfather of VR. This channel, I'll probably still cover gaming in general, but I might not get back to covering gaming in general on this channel until after the new consoles are out, because the way things are going right now has really gotten on my nerves. The new consoles aren't even in our hands yet. And we still got this silly ass console war going on. We still got lies being spread. And when I say that, I try to be general about it, but to be more specific about it, I'm really tired of the Xbox, the real toxic ones, spreading lies about Sony. And this isn't in defense of Sony. If they were spreading lies about Nintendo, I would still have this same stance that I'm tired of it. I'm really sick of them lying just to big up, the Xbox platform. And that is just so childish and so crazy. To lie on another platform to big up your own platform because you're so tired of them getting their asses kicked. Instead of lying on Sony, why don't you get on Microsoft's ass and demand that they deliver better product? And so because of that, I'm really sick of this shit. I'm sick of these lies about, or these rumors about consoles running hot, this, that. This console's got RNDA, whatever that shit is. This one's got ray tracing. This one's got variable rate refresh. All this bullshit, all this technical jargon that I'm just really sick of. The fucking console is not in anybody's hands yet. So how can somebody that doesn't have the console in their fucking hands yet jump up talking about this one can do this, but this one can't? Especially if you haven't heard it from the company. So I'm really tired of that shit. I'm tired of entities like Digital Foundry being bought off. Because they've basically become mercenaries now. They're basically trying to get paid by all the major platforms. So now it's like anything they say good about a platform is because they were paid to say it, not because they actually found something good. So I'm sick of Digital Foundry. I haven't seen a video from them in a while, but I thought Candyland was a good site. They didn't say anything. They just ran it side by side and just let you make your own conclusion. They're not zooming in 8 million times and talking about muddy textures and shit like that. So, so I'm really sick of that shit too. So, all that being said, I probably won't be on this channel. I may not be covering too much moving forward until these new councils are in everybody's hands. You know, 6 months from now, if I talk about the PlayStation, I want to be able to talk about a new feature that they might have added that I think is pretty cool, and not have to not talk about either of these consoles without having to mention the fanboyism attached to it. So it's just shit that's just gotten really out of hand with this console war. I really thought that what I thought was going to happen was that, specifically speaking, we all know that the Xbox are fighting to the last breath. They know they got their asses kicked this generation, but they absolutely refuse to wave the white flag and just, concede that it's over. I originally thought that what would happen is that when the new consoles came out, actually, let me take that back. At times, there were times where I thought that the Xbox wanted this generation to hurry up and be over with, so we can start the new generation fresh and the score will be 0-0. But the new generation hasn't even started yet, and there's already lies going around. So it's just ridiculous. And I mean, this shit's been going on for about the past year. So I'm really tired of this shit. Because of it, I've kind of moved away from the PlayStation, Xbox thing. This is just a temporary move. I'm just keeping my distance from the shit until the consoles are in everybody's hands, and all these goddamn lies can stop. It's not, the lies ain't gonna stop. They still gonna tell lies, and then, I've already mentioned one YouTuber in specifically telling lies, and then when he gets busted telling a lie, I've said it before, we listen to him with this Fat Albert voice saying it's all entertainment. Fuck that. I do not like that. This ain't entertainment, because you deliberately telling a lie, and if the audience believes it, you're going to go with it. You're going to continue to let them believe that lie. You only saying that it's all entertainment when they get busted. When they get busted in a lie, and somebody pulls their card. So no, don't try to use that card as a defense mechanism. You deliberately trying to spread lies, and if people believe that shit, you're gonna run with it. You'll probably even add to it if they continue to believe it. But then developers and other knowledgeable YouTubers have to come out and debunk these lies that this dude is telling. And then, like I said, when he gets caught, it's like, it's all entertainment. So, I'm just tired of this shit. So, it's toxic. It's nauseating. I think it's to the point where you're not even a real gamer anymore if half of your fucking day is dedicated to what lies can I tell, and on the other side of that is, okay, what lie is he going to tell that I have to come out and defend or debunk? And it's something new every day. I just want to play games. I love VR. I want to share that with everybody. And VR, for the most part, the VR community is mostly positive. There ain't no silly ass console war going over there. A few games have microtransactions, but for the most part, no. The games are cheap. And I think with games like The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners coming to the Oculus Quest, I think that's the first step in AAA games coming to VR. So, a lot of people don't like that Facebook is the catalyst of this, but like it or not, they have taken VR to the next level. And as far as standalone goes, nobody's going to be able to compete with them for a while. There's no way around it, like it or not. And I know how people feel about the Facebook login, but that doesn't change the fact that the Oculus Quest 2 is an amazing device. So, that being said, that's why it's time for me to go ahead and start a second channel. And I know that whether I get 10 subscribers or 100 subscribers, I know that the people that will tune in to this new channel will be people that are 100% on board with VR. And I think, again, the time is right to do this because the way the Oculus Quest is catching on right now, a lot of people are getting the Oculus Quest. It's becoming that last year was that must-have item for Christmas, and it's going to be that way again, where it's going to be that must-have item, especially with kids. I think it's going to become that item to the point where they're going to be picking the Oculus Quest 2 over the Nintendo Switch. I mean, kids are already starting to flood the Oculus ecosystem right now. A lot of people get annoyed by these kids, but that's to be expected, when you got an amazing headset at a very affordable price. And for parents these days that don't have a lot of money to work with, I think the Oculus Quest is perfect because it's an affordable gift that you can give each of your kids. In the case of buying an Xbox Series X, it's $500. PS5 is $500. And and even if like the Xbox Series S, which is supposed to cost $300, that's affordable. But even if like let's say you got 3 kids, right? And you try to give each of them their own console, because if you got 3 kids that's got 3 different preferences in the kind of games they like to play, that's going to lead to some bickering. And even if you bought each of your kids in Xbox Series S, which is affordable at $300, they all still got to have their own TVs. So now, at the very least, you probably invested $500 per child for them to have their own console and their own TV. That's just for the Xbox Series S. In the case of the Oculus Quest 2, there's no need for a TV. Each child can have their own unit, play what they want, where they want, when they want. And in today's climate, when you consider what you're going to buy your kids, I really think that I think the Nintendo Switch or the Oculus Quest 2 are the best options. In the case of the Nintendo Switch, they can take it with them wherever they want, play the games where they want, when they want, and if it comes down to it, there's no bickering over the TV. They can just snatch it right out of the dock and play it right then and there. So, I think maybe for the last couple of years, maybe the Nintendo Switch might have been the must-have item for Christmas. But I think the Oculus Quest is going to overtake them probably this year. I mean, I've even posed that question to my son. I know I've said this before, but I posed that question to my son. See, you guys hear me say that too many times that I bought my son everything. And I posed the question to him. I said, "What if you didn't have anything, and I only had enough money to get you a Nintendo Switch or an Oculus Quest? Which one would you want?" He said the Oculus Quest. And so I think that's a testament that the Oculus Quest is going to grow, and and I think that's going to give a lot of channels the opportunity to grow. I mean, I've picked up some subscribers since the Oculus Quest 2 came out, and I've been doing a lot of coverage on the Oculus Quest 2, playing games on the Oculus Quest 2, having a couple of podcasts about the Oculus Quest 2. It's only a few subscribers. I think I only picked up like 25 subscribers, but for a channel that for the most part has been stagnant, I'm still happy with that. So, but I think the new channel over the long haul can exceed this one. Again, this channel's not going anywhere. As far as coverage over gaming in general, that's not really going to change. It's just the VR part is probably going to be stripped out of it. And as far as the new channel goes, again, the new channel is called The Godfather of VR. At the conclusion of this podcast, I will put the link in the description for the new channel, and I will post links for it on Twitter. Please, come over and subscribe to that channel, especially if you are, if you love VR as much as I do. Please subscribe to that channel and join me over there for the VR podcast, for the VR Let's Plays, and that kind of stuff. And over on that channel, again, it's going to be 100% VR. The only way you're going to hear me talk about anything outside of VR is if it connects to VR. So the only way on the new channel, the only way you're going to hear me talk about Microsoft or Sony or something like that is if it connects to VR in one way, shape, or form. I mean, a good example right now is that if I was on a new channel right now and I was to bring up Microsoft, the only reason why I would be bringing them up right now is because I guess it was recently discovered that there is code inside the Xbox Series X that supports VR, to put it in simple terms. And so Microsoft knows that VR is growing and they're putting a fail-safe in. So again, I've said that before, that whenever VR becomes lucrative and they're ready to jump on board, that puts them in a position where they can just flip the switch and jump right in there. So if I was to talk about that, that would be the only way that I would talk about Microsoft on the new channel, because something like that does pertain to VR. So, but yeah, it'll be mostly VR. It'll be 100% VR. So again, I'm really excited about this channel. I can start, streaming live content about this time tomorrow. So, as far as this channel goes, like I said, it's not going anywhere. I can't say how consistent that I'll be with the content. It depends on what's out there. I'm not going to jump out there just to talk about something. And another reason why I haven't been, as far as podcast goes, on this channel, one of the reasons why you guys haven't seen me do too many podcasts lately is because I don't want to regurgitate what's already been out there. It's like a lot of the news hits during the day. And by the time I get home and get out of work, there's already been 8,000 podcasts talking about whatever the new hot subject is. And the only reason to tune into my podcast is to see it from my perspective. I'll be saying I'll be talking about what everybody else is already talking about. The only thing is you would be getting it from my perspective, a video comes out, a latest topic, and there's 8,000 videos out there. I don't want to be 8,001. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been too active with the podcast lately. In addition to being tired as usual from how much I work. So, but yeah, for the most part, this channel isn't going anywhere. Still gonna cover gaming, and I just have to figure out which angle I'm going to deliver it from. So, that being said, yeah, I think it's time for me to go and hang it up. I was in the middle of watching a podcast from Virtual Strangers, and I think I'm going to finish watching that. From there, if I'm still up, then I might actually stream some games. So, I very well could still stream some VR games today, or actually, I think that's something else that I need to specify. Excuse me. I'm not totally shutting off the VR content from this channel. Not yet. Not until the new channel starts growing. So in that aspect, yes, I'll still be streaming, VR games. If a new game comes out, I think what I'll end up doing is like streaming it on both channels. I'll stream it on this channel and then stream it on the new channel. And then once the new channel grows to the point where I feel like it can stand on its own 2 feet, then VR content, will shift 100% over to the new channel. So right now it's going to start out as a slow transition. So, but yes, that one thing that is for certain, the new channel will be strictly 100% VR, whereas this channel, like I said, I'm going to slowly transition all the VR stuff over to the new channel. So that being said, yeah, you'll still get VR content from me on this channel for a while, but the overall roadmap for this channel is that, if this channel's still alive a couple of years from now, probably won't have too much VR content on it. So, but it'll still be there for right now. So I guess that's probably a better way of putting it. So that being said, I think it's time for me to go ahead and hang it up. Stretch out that, finish watching Virtual Strangers, and from there, if I'm still awake, maybe I'll stream something. I mean, so much stuff to choose from between PlayStation, between of all the VR headsets that I have, PlayStation, Oculus, what have you. There's so much content out there, and it's like, what do I play today? What do I do today? That kind of thing. And I've been wanting to play Population 1 again because I haven't played it. I haven't played it in a few days. But Population 1 that game has gotten strategic enough that I only want to play with my friends who are on the same page as me. And so I got a lot of friends that I play Population 1 with, but I think the guys that I work best with is Ham for the Win and Kevy D77. I thought we had a pretty good team. I did fairly good with Paradise Decay, but that was one of those situations where I think he just happened to be up at the hour that I was playing. So, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like I said, this channel isn't going anywhere. The content's still gonna be there. Again, we'll slowly transition the VR content over to the new channel. But this channel's still gonna be here. There's still gonna be content on this channel, and I'll get a foothold on what's gonna happen with this channel here, over time. So, that being said, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch everybody later. Wakanda forever. Long live the king. Deuces.